Thank you for taking the time to register and watch this masterclass. My name is Fernando Bernall, and I've created this masterclass to give hope to women who have been suffering with various digestive conditions for a long time. This masterclass is packed with a lot of information. It's really a teaching class with information that I've acquired over 30 years of clinical practice and personal experience. And I'll tell you more about my qualifications and credentials later on. You see, I believe that when we are seeking for solutions to solve a problem that has afflicted us for quite some time, the first step is to empower ourselves with knowledge and acquire that knowledge from someone who has been there, who can understand our struggles and who has finally found answers. When we acquire knowledge on topics related to our health, we understand the process that may be needed and are more likely to comply and make the necessary changes that we need to do in order to reach our goal. So get yourself a pencil and a notebook so you can pen down notes and perhaps questions that you may have for me later on. Now, because this is an in-depth masterclass, I want to make sure that I don't waste your time. This way we're on the same page. So before I share my screen, I need you to know that this is not for you if you had bariatric surgeries such as a gastric bypass or a sleeve gastrectomy and are suffering with what is known as early or late dumping syndrome. And while the symptoms of dumping syndrome are similar to those of other digestive disorders, their origin lies in the structural and mechanical changes made in the digestive tract as a consequence of such procedures. Now, not everyone has complications after this type of surgeries, but if you're one of them, then I'm so sorry, but this is not for you. Number two, your symptoms are recent, and by recent I mean a week or 2 weeks tops. Your body should be able to deal with acute digestive problems on its own without much intervention. It's amazing what the body can do on its own if we provide the right environment for self-healing. 3, your symptoms are chronic and you have not seen a doctor. By chronic, I mean months or years, in particular if you're having pain in your left lower quadrant of your abdomen, or you're seeing blood in your stool, or your stool looks tarry and maroon or black, and you've experienced nausea, vomiting, and you have not sought help from your primary care provider and received a referral to a gastroenterologist. And I say this because I want to make sure that any serious pathology has been ruled out, that there are no bowel obstructions or intestinal bleeding due to some complication that would require immediate attention. I want the best for you, and this will not be it. It's the right thing to do. However, apart from the above, let me share my screen with you and change microphones and dive right into this masterclass, shall we? This is for you if you're a woman and currently dealing with digestive issues. And I say that because statistically, in the United States, more women than men seek healthcare services for symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome and other digestive disorders. This has been true in my practice, so I've gained a lot of experience working with this type of conditions. You are tired of irregularity and abdominal pain from bloating. You are serious, committed, and ready to put an end to the struggle. You have persistent symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, joint pain. As you will learn in this masterclass, many symptoms that we may experience like fatigue and brain fog, anxiety, skin issues, even joint pain, headaches, which we normally not associate with our digestion, have indeed their root cause in the gut. And listen, I know from experience, I know it's not easy, but it is possible. So stick with me and keep watching. But first, let me ask you, do you ever think to yourself, maybe I just have to learn to live with this condition? Many times our doctors will tell us that we have to learn to live with this or that condition. But here's the problem with that. When we hear or tell ourselves that we have to learn to live with this or that, we could subconsciously start to think, if I don't have this condition, I will die. So I better learn to live with it. We appropriate the problem and make it our own. We begin to say things like my cirrhosis or my Crohn's, my IBS, my acid reflux, my SIBO, my fibromyalgia, and so on. The words that we speak, the thoughts that we think are so powerful that often our own language and inner dialogue sabotage our efforts to improve our overall health. I could do an entire webinar just on this topic, but that's not what you're here for. That's a sidebar. You're here to learn how to deal with your digestive issues, and that's what I'll deliver. How about digestive issues run in my family? My mother had it, my sister has it, and I guess it's my turn. Hope my children don't get it. So let me propose this for your consideration. Yes, there are genetic factors that may be responsible for some health conditions, but while genetics do play a role, more importantly is what is known as the epigenetics. Let me define our terms. Epigenetics is the study of how the environment and other factors can change the way that genes are expressed. In other words, our lifestyle, what we eat, our stress management, exercise or lack of, our thoughts, and so on. These are the factors that can either suppress or turn on faulty genes that we might have inherited from mom and dad. So just because it runs in the family does not mean you have to be afflicted with digestive problems. Of course, like everything else, there are exceptions. But generally speaking, genetics are not a sentence to a life of grief with bloating, constipation, and so on. And how about my doctor wants me to have either an endoscopy or a colonoscopy? Now, I'm not going to sit here and be all holistic and kumbaya, namaste kind of guy and tell you that you don't need either one of those invasive procedures. In fact, one of the principal components of the optimal digestion blueprint is testing. We do a number of functional labs. Why? Because we believe in test, don't guess. Your health is too important, and you don't want to pay me your hard-earned money for me to guess. So if in the labs I see something that is way out of range, I'm going to suggest that you see your primary care doctor for a follow-up. As a health coach, it's the right thing for me to do. And now, let me ask you, have you ever wondered how some people can eat whatever foods they want and never seem to struggle with bloating, pain, indigestion, belching, constipation, or constantly going to the bathroom? Or they try stuff like colon cleanses or some liver detox, and somehow they still see results. Meanwhile, you've tried it all and nothing seems to help. You still feel terrible. And I wonder if you can relate to the frustration of not being able to wear the clothes that fit you nicely. Instead, you have to wear baggy clothes, not just to hide the bloating, but also just to feel comfortable. You're always taking antacids or proton pump inhibitors or antihistamines prescribed by your doctor to deal with acid reflux. Or during social events, you feel like one of the guys because you are constantly belching and you might giggle, but deep inside, you're dying of embarrassment. If any of this is you, which is probably why you are listening to this masterclass, then I have good news for you. My promise to you, I'm going to show you the simple 3-step system that I created, and I'm so proud of it, that can help you reduce your digestive problems in as little as 3 months. Eliminate bloating, pain, constipation, and or diarrhea, and enjoy eating out again without meds or extreme diets. If and when you follow these 3 simple steps, you will be able to experience improved digestion. People say we are what we eat, but the fact is we are what we absorb. The optimal digestion blueprint will guide you step by step so that You feel comfortable in social settings. Have you ever been invited to a dinner and the host asks if you avoid certain foods because they are aware of your digestion problems? Or go to a restaurant and have to be careful what you order because you may end up looking 6 months pregnant before the night is over? Or have you had to tell the host in advance that you cannot eat this or that? Well, I'm going to show you how this will become a thing of the past. When you don't have to wear baggy clothes to cover up bloating, you will be able to wear that pretty dress to the next time you go out. Rushing to the bathroom, loosening your clothes will all become a distant memory. But to arrive to this state of well-being and optimal digestion, first I want you to know that you are not to blame. People say, well, it's your diet. Yes, if you're sitting around eating potato chips all day long while watching reruns of The Sopranos or Sex and the City or whatever flips your switch, well, yes, we've got a problem. But most of the clients that I successfully work with are not doing that. And like you, they are really trying to find a solution to the problems that they did not invite into their lives. Like some of the women that you will meet later on.